Today, I wanted to talk about the two types of people that I've come across that sign up on the platform. So there's group A and there's group B. So group A is more concerned about the characteristics of the person they want to meet. So when they're describing the kind of person they want to meet, they say, I want someone nice, kind, sweet, romantic. So they describe, a whole feeling and characteristic. And how you know these people is because when they're even describing, their experience with their matches, even if it doesn't work out or it works out, when they, explaining or telling you about their first dates, they're like, this other guy didn't work out because, he wasn't funny. Our sense of humor, is very different. He wasn't nice to the waitress, or this girl, we didn't click because she's just not a nice person or she's boring. So with group B, they're more about the external factors, not the characteristic of the person. So they tell you when you ask, like, what kind of person do you want to be with? They tell you person has to be in Lagos, has to live on the island, or has to have a particular type of job, has to be financially stable. So they're describing a lot of things, but they're not even putting any characteristics like interesting or funny or anything. They're like good body, must look cute, handsome or beautiful. So that's how they describe the kind of person they want to meet. And how you can tell as well is when they're describing their experience with their matches, they're usually like, this guy wasn't the type of guy I want to be with. He lives on the island and I live on the mainland, or a guy's actually said this, that he couldn't continue with his match because she lives on the mainland and he lives on the island. And then we've had ladies say, this guy wasn't up to my standard. The school he went to, his education doesn't match my education level, or I want to date someone that has a master's at least, so you find them describing it through the external factors. So why I wanted to talk about this two group of people is because I feel like you should be more like group A. You should be more on the characteristics and less on the external factors. I understand that obviously you want to, date someone that, can, is financially stable, of course, works, went to this school or went to that school, I understand all that is necessary. It makes sense. So the reason why I say we should all try to be more like group A is because the external factors, when you choose a match or, meet someone and choose them based on the external factors, what happens if those factors change? So if you meet two different girls, like with that guy, and he chooses the girl that stays on the island, and he's like, he didn't give the girl on the mainland a chance at all. So he's not actually even picking based on their character. He's picking based on, their location. He just feels like, I want this girl that lives on the island and not the girl that lives on the mainland. So what happens if or when the girl that lives on the island decides to move to the mainland? Do you then break up with her? Or I've heard guys say, I can't date a banker, I don't want to be matched with a banker. And what happens if you get matched with maybe, a civil servant, and then she changes her job and decides to be a banker? So what happens then? Do you guys break up? So I'm not saying that external factors are not important. They're very important as well, but I feel like you should lead with the internal factors first and then look towards the external factors and, match those together. Because if you choose based on the external factors, so if you say, I don't want to date, I want a guy that's cute, has a great body. So what happens in future if he puts on a lot of weight and he doesn't have that great body that you liked? Or I want a girl that has this, figure. And what happens if over time she loses that figure? You're choosing on external factors that can change. Or I don't want to date a banker. What if she changes her job and becomes a banker? I don't want to date someone that lives on, outside the country or something, and someone changes. So what I'm saying is that those factors are external and those can change. So I feel like it's best to choose based on the internal factors first and then look towards the external factors. Even when you're choosing based on external factors and you have your list, I feel like you can look towards the internal factors first and then choose the external factors. Because when you have things on your list, like I want the person to be financially stable, it's important, but I don't think it should be priority, in the sense that if you find somebody that has the internal factors that you like, you can overlook certain things to a certain level. Because if you are focused and you make that a priority, that's somebody that's financially stable, and obviously everybody has an idea of what financially stable is to them, and you pick based on that, what happens when that person, or if that person loses everything and doesn't have anything anymore? Do you actually stop, being with that person? So that's why I say the internal factors are important, because it's hard for somebody to be, funny, interesting today, and the next day they just change. It happens, but it's rare.